Summertime. Barbecue, dating and hating.
Yeah. Dude, wait, hold on.
Just summertime stuff.
Hold on, Corinne. Can you help me? How do you put... No, I need help with that because the show has started. That was a sneak attack show start. I am so good at this. Welcome to My Safe Word This Morning. My name is Al Jackson, comedian, talk show host of Daily Blast Live. My co-host is the incredible, the lovely Corinne Kaplan from Survivor and The Amazing Race. And as always, we're joined by our wonderful three-time Emmy-winning producer, Mr. Chris Clark is in the building. What's going on?
Emmy-winning human.
Corinne, is it bad that I was really happy with my little sneak attack?
Well, I just was like, why would you ever ask me for technological support? He handed me his phone. Can you help me with this? Surely not.
It was very sneaky. But I'll tell you this, one thing I did plan, and it's something I need to talk about. I planned a barbecue this past weekend. And as I was planning it, lots of questions came up, some philosophical, some logistical. And I feel like there's some things I have to run by you, but we have so many things to talk about. Barbecue etiquette, dating at a barbecue, and then there's also maybe a new dating game. Don't tease me. Is there a new dating game?
Yeah, it's a little offshoot of Bang or Buy that I'm going to call Date or Hate, and we're going to go through the list of things, like I promised last episode, that really pissed me off when you put them in your profile, and I think Al might have a differing opinion, so we'll see if he's on the same
We've
team.
helped people with their profile, so I look forward to that. I always want the help. This is what we need to get to. Barbecue and what it means to throw one post-COVID, getting people back out the house,
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
If I may, I think it's funny because this is how little I cook. You kept calling it a barbecue, and I was like, isn't it a barbecue if there's no barbecue? There's no grill? I thought that, inherently, you're making it sound like you were flipping burgers.
That's
not at all what was happening.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a question that should have been added to the list in pre-production. But you just keep coming up with great things. But honestly, yes, I did have a barbecue. I don't know why I called it a barbecue, but basically, and y'all, you swimmers, you guys should know this. I have been, myself and my girl, we have been actively trying to break ourselves of the COVID mindset of just Saturday binge. I'm in my sweatpants watching some white serial killer that's cute and kind of hot. No, I don't want that. I want to talk to people. I want to greet them when they come through the door. I want to see who you brought here. I want to see what you brought, which we're going to get to in a little while. But I want to see people. I said maybe I'm a throwback Thursday kind of person. I still kind of like people, Corinne.
Listen, I was looking forward to that all week. The second you told me, I was like, ooh, what am I going to bring? This is so exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, I love a daytime party. I just do.
Yes. And, a lot of people love daytime parties, Corinne. A lot of folks our age, late 20s, 30s, 40s. And I think herein lies the issue, because I wanted to talk to you about the concept of a barbecue. And is it a misnomer because it's an all-day drink-a-thon?
Yeah, that's all I planned for it to be.
Yes, but
I never eat anything at these things.
You really don't.
I really don't.
But okay, if I say, Corinne, get Chris, we're gonna jump in an Uber, we're going to a club, my boy's got a table, we're gonna do it up tonight. You are probably having some food in your system. Maybe not you, but most people, they're preparing themselves because they're like, okay, I'm gonna have some water. I know I'm going to be drinking.
Yeah.
I think that barbecues, because of the placebo kind of name, it's like drinking and kids and little non-threatening music with no curse words in it. But it's almost more drinking than at the club because it's day drinking with the sun. So that's like 1.5 drinks per drink. And it gives you the illusion that you're not getting drunk because you're not dancing. There's no DJ. There's nobody.
Well,
there's no real sexuality to it like there would be in a nightclub.
If you don't have to, other than when you have to go to the bathroom, if the only time you get up from, you have this cute little fire pit area, if the only time you get up is to use the bathroom and that's when you figure out you drank too much, it's hard to monitor when you're at a club. If you're kind of mingling, you're like, oh, you know what? It's starting to set in.
Yes.
And so I think it creeps up on you a little bit at a barbecue. Not me, but other people, I feel like.
Do you know where else I saw that?
Where?
And this is why I know what you're saying is 100% true. Comedy clubs. Because you're sitting down. There's the mandatory 2-drink minimum. And because of that, you're not having your first drink when you sit down. What are you, Mormon? Stop.
Yeah.
So you had one while your partner was getting dressed, probably 2. You get in the Uber, you get to the spot. You probably go to the bar right next to the comedy club before. If you get there like 7:50.
Yeah, you got a pregame before the pregame. You're not nobody goes to a comedy club sober. That's so crazy.
That's crazy.
There's a likelihood that maybe you won't find the comic funny, and you gotta lube them up, right?
Right. Help us out. That's right.
That's why when I did my one open mic, I asked to middle because I was like, I don't want to be first out.
Middling is called the sweet spot.
Gotta get them a little bit liquored up first.
That's right. And just to pay that off, what happens is people at 2 at home, they get to the place, they're like, oh, a cool little wine bar before the show starts in 20 minutes. You and your wife, now you had 2, and now you've had 4 drinks in an hour, 70 minutes. Then you sit down, and as soon as you sit down, the waitress is like, hey, what's going on at this table? And your dude goes, hey, let's get some martinis over here. So now you've had 4 glasses of wine and a martini, and now you're starting to forget you drank before because you're having a good time. Comic's funny. So the waitress comes over again. She's like, oh, we got 2 here. He pulled out a Amex, so they're not doing the minimum. So now she's pushing drinks on you guys, little rum runners. Next thing you know, 30 minutes into the headliner set, Corinne goes to stand up, and she's got turn-up legs.
Yeah.
And legs are not working. Yeah, so that's very true.
Yeah.
So talk to our audience. Mm-hmm. How should one pace yourself? And maybe start us off with, my barbecue was from 2 to 6. When should barbecue start? And let's say it's from 2 to 6. Let's give those parameters. You're walking in. You do not have any drinks in your system. You are an empty vessel. You're not Corinne. You're just anybody that's going to this barbecue. How would you tell them how to conduct themselves?
Well, so first and foremost, upon entrance, if you are not holding a snack or a bottle of something, like, you're out of your goddamn mind. Like, I don't go to anyone's home really ever without something. Like, I think that's crazy. So crazy.
And it's a sneak attack too, because people, first of all, if you ask, do I need to bring anything? Unless you're saying, do you want me to bring anything specific?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it might not be bring champagne. It might be just be, oh my God, we need ice and forks. Well, it might just be that.
It might be.
So if you ask for something specific, but if you're not going to, if you just bring usually the same thing, you go down to your corner store and you get a 12-pack or whatever. But you need to bring something. And the idea that a lot of people be like, oh, don't worry about it. I would probably say that. But it's a thing. It's a trap.
Okay, yeah, it is. It's similar to, like, at the end of a date, when the guy goes and takes his card out, and I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's not gonna say no. I'm not sure, right? It's a similar thing to being like, "Oh, do you want me to bring anything?" You're still supposed to bring something. And in fact, if I may go a step further,
please.
I believe you should have enough of the alcohol that you drink. That should be a thing. So I'm weird. I came with Bloody Mary mix, and I had the vodka that I keep here. I keep a bunch of alcohol here because, that's what you do when your friend is sober and trying not to drink or hasn't drank in 3 years, 4 years.
December 19th.
Yeah, so you're like, what up? I'm going to start storing alcohol here. So I keep alcohol here. And I had like a half a bottle of mezcal, which I hadn't factored in that it wasn't. We had drank the night before. Actually, right. 3 of us were recording, so I was like, you know what? I got to get more mezcal because that's what I like to drink, and the chance of someone else bringing mezcal is pretty low.
Right. And it's a good thing because you don't ever want to have to leave the barbecue. That's a weird thing, especially when you have to leave for one specific thing, because then people go, can you also, while you're out, and you're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be driving at all. Now, Corinne, you brought up something very
but I did leave, and I went and got 2 more bottles of mezcal and another bottle of vodka because I was like, I just don't feel comfortable with the amount of alcohol here.
Well, no. Because you felt comfortable with the amount of alcohol.
Yeah, it wasn't something.
You didn't feel comfortable with the kind of alcohol.
I didn't like it.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Why does that make you cool and chill that you don't have any specific tastes? The fact that somebody's like, hey, I don't like that on my pizza, or I prefer this. I only drink cabs, whatever. As long as you bring it. And you're not like snooty with it. I'm glad that you have specific tastes. I kind of think that's a good thing. So don't ever let the world shake you off that. I like that about you. You like what you like.
I am not a fan of, like, I'm very much into, like, there's no complaint. If you're at a party, you should do everything possible to not be Eeyore at the party. Do not complain. If you foresee that this might upset you later and you might complain about it, fix the situation.
Right. Especially when you've had some drinks. You don't have to call an Uber at like 5:30 and they judge you like, why are you drunk already?
I had half of one, like, I drink those extended shot glasses.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Before I'm going to go to Argonaut. I'm going to go make a quick trip. And it was no big deal. It was like a 15-minute round trip.
And when you come back in with more booze, people are like, I didn't know I could love her anymore, and then here we go. I do like that. Even in our fake example about when you show up at the barbecue, you literally do show up at 2, which I really, really like that about you. It's something I'll always remember about you. Even if I'm in late stages dementia, I remember Corinne showed up. You know, and it's like such a defining. I don't have that. I'm working on that. I'm sober, so I'm better at that now. But it's a really great quality. Okay, so we got to help our viewers.
Yeah, so
because they're here at 2:00.
Yeah,
it's 2 p.m. They're at Al's crib, meet and greet. Of course, they listen to this podcast, so they came with something in hand. Appreciate you bringing that beer. Oh, paper plates you shouldn't have. So now it's like 2:05.
Yeah.
Where do they go first? Do you go for food? Do you go for a beer first?
Oh,
what are you doing? Do you start with liquor? It's early, dude.
I mean, I opened with a Bloody Mary. I only have one of those.
Ooh, that's good.
Right. I don't think, I'm a bad person to ask. I don't believe you should ever be the first person that touches food at any point in time. Like, ever. So, like, I wouldn't, even if I was absolutely famished, I would have to wait for someone else to make a plate, maybe 2 people to make plates before I would go in on it.
Why? You don't want to be the person that moves the weird film off of the party tray?
Yeah, I don't.
There's a stigma. They'd be like, "Who's that? Who's your friend over there? You mean the one over there?"
Well, it
going through the gross, dry, dead celery.
It screams like poverty to me. Like, oh, you came here starving? like it's so upsetting to me. I hate that.
Okay, all right.
I could come here sober, but I shouldn't come here starving.
So I wonder if I've been going my whole life and not knowing, because I don't think men think like that.
Probably not.
Like, oh, there's a judgment, but I think I could see that, and I could see some little shitty whispering in the corner, like, oh, who's this starving chick over here?
It's real pavo to come over and just like get like, you know, in the trenches with the buffet immediately, like.
Okay, I respect your ideology, but if we're gonna go with that, now old Mama Coco's got an empty stomach. So we got a Bloody Mary in there.
I think a Bloody Mary is like a meal replacement shake, honestly.
A lot of people that have been kicked off of flights think that.
Well, you know who the biggest demographic you've probably ever been around that really know the implications of Bloody Marys? You worked on a Carnival cruise ship. Oh. And that is really where Bloody Marys shine.
Just
on a cruise, of course.
Someday drinking. I don't think that you can really, until you work on a cruise ship and you're on the boat, when you see people coming back from the island excursions, because if you're a passenger, yes, you're coming back, but you're drunk too. When you see this wave of people, like almost like the beaches of Normandy, and they come back in those little schooner boats if they can't dock directly under the island. And people leave, and they're like, we enjoyed your show last night. Me and my husband are going to get some jewelry on the island. And they came back, had a good time.
Yeah.
My wife, she danced. She won hot legs contest. And you're like, oh, you guys are gone. It's like 1:30. But they get those people on those islands in Jamaica. They throw some rum down your throats. People get really turned up on those.
Yeah. I've done some stupid shit in Jamaica. Not on a cruise, but I mean, nowadays I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I went to a foam party.
Oh, yeah. I've been to those.
Which is a really good way to get sexually assaulted. But I went to the foam party in Jamaica, and afterwards they had showers set up so you could get like all the grit from the foam off of you. But I did this thing where I decided that...
Did your dignity wash off too?
Yeah.
So gross.
It pretty much did.
I've been to many.
I didn't want to wear bikini bottoms. I wanted to wear my G-string underwear because I thought that the poom poom shorts I had would look better with not the. I hate the outline of bikini style underwear. Oh. And so the bikini bathing suit, like the one that went with it, had like ties, and I was like, this looks like shit. I'm just gonna put like a pair of like just nude panties on underneath this. Well, I was wasted, and so I am showering, and I forget that I don't have bikini bottoms on. So I just take the little shorts off, and then I hear the crowd go wild, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Thank you again for no camera phones.
But just imagine how nice your ass must be.
Well,
if you take them off and it's not the first time you've heard raucous applause, like God has blessed you with a little thumper. So God, hey, that's a great thing.
It was more just shocking because everyone else, I mean, we were young and everyone was in bathing suits, not full lingerie. It was an accident.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, boy shorts. It took us a long time to right the ship on those and understand how sexy they are. Now, do you think the concept behind boy shorts and their sexiness is that you can't see everything and that the human beings still want to think? You said it a little bit with Bumble pictures
right.
where you don't want to see shirtless.
Imagine. Yeah, I don't want to see shirtless.
Do you think it's the same premise with boy shorts?
Well, I did it purely. I don't want any random hands going anywhere. Like, I did it for protection. That's
Safety
why.
Defense course.
If you listen, we're telling you about barbecues. Now let's also tell you, if you go to a foam party, do they even exist anymore?
Ooh,
people get very handsy, and there's foam in the way, and you really gotta protect your carnal treasure. So
and let me just tell you this: they definitely exist because you think the owner of like some terrible place like Senior Frogs is like, yeah, we're gonna move away from this foam thing. It's only been working for 70 years in a row.
You know that they were screwed during COVID. There's no way that was okay.
Yes.
I mean, we couldn't even share touching menus.
Oh well, I think the islands were really strict about it because obviously the density. But I think as soon as they were able to open back up, they did. Big trust on that. But let's not get away from the barbecue.
Okay,
so
please.
You've had your Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
It's $2.50. You've had a
That's
Bloody
generous.
Mary. We've had a Bloody Mary.
It's $2.04, and I finished the Bloody.
Bloody Marys are gross anyway. Can
God,
we be honest with that?
The
that
reason
they suck?
Well, one is okay. Now, I want to tell you that I had this like you know, there's Zing Zang, and then there's the very high-end Bloody Mary mix. And this particular Bloody Mary mix that I keep on hand, I try and keep enough alcohol for the apocalypse and all the mixers at all times. So if you ever show up at my place, there's going to be club soda, there's going to be tonic, there's going to be Diet Coke, there's going to be cranberry. You know, like you're never going to walk in. My entire refrigerator is mixers. So I had this Bloody Mary mix, and my father, like, weirdly, on the day before he was leaving, like when, you know, he was like, you know, we were going to the Grizzly Rose, and nobody has a Bloody at 8 p.m. He's like, this is going to sound strange. Do you have any Bloody Mary mix? And I was like, I do, actually. And I'm not stingy, like, you know, but in my head, I'm like, I'm going to fucking open this. And you got to drink a substantial amount of this. You know, this is like a $26,
Yeah, it's time for some tomato juice at 9 p.m., Pops.
So my father, get this. He makes the Bloody. I get the Worcestershire sauce out. I get horseradish out.
Okay, you're not messing around.
I have olives, and I have pickled baby corn. And I have the toothpick. I make a Bloody Mary like you make a Bloody Mary, right? I have tahini I'm sprinkling in it. He takes a few sips, and then he goes, can I see the bottle? And I said, sure. And he flips the bottle over, and he's like, oh, I can't drink this. There was too much sodium. And that upset him, and I was like,
"Isn't that all a Bloody Mary?"
I didn't understand why. First of all, he goes, this is above the threshold of sodium I'm willing to have in a drink, and I was like, of course it is. Well, what would you like me to do with the rest of this? And then, lucky me, it's good for 7 days, and your barbecue was within the 7-day window. So yes. I was like, thank God, because what a waste.
Me and Pops teamed up. Weird reverse Bizarro World Bloody Mary story. When Sar and I went to South Carolina for my mama's wedding, we're on our flight going down there. Before we take off, they come, does anybody want to drink? And, I don't drink anymore. But I looked.
You went for the V8.
No, I didn't even. The guy next to me. And I was looking at him because he was one of those, I always said he looked like a 64-year-old white guy that it was like if I Think I'm Totally Rad was turned into a person. Like he was a older white kind of Southern guy, cowboy boots, but he had on like a almost a tie-dye kind of button-up shirt. It was a strange.
You're describing Rupert, this idiot.
He looked like he did taxes for clowns.
Uh-huh.
Like he was trying to be festive, but he was still buttoned, collared, button-up shirt, tucked in, belt, jeans. Cowboy boots, but kind of like trying to be funky. It was like he.
You know who that is?
Who?
That's Weeping Wound when he grows up.
Yes, like fun, funky, but like this guy, he was in first class. He clearly had some dough, but he was, and it was one of those things where it was 2 seats that me and Saul were in, and he was just in the one, and so they brought him a Bloody Mary, and he takes a sip, and he calls the flight attendant. This is before we took off, and he goes, the goddamn thing's got alcohol in it. You can get people messed up like this. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I get, first of all, the second time that's happened to me.
I know.
I told you about that one.
Went all the way off.
Right. That guy, the guy that said I can still feel it running through my veins. He said that to me as we took off. This guy was more just really frustrated and put off with the flight attendant. And again, just like the flight attendant that accidentally put booze in the guy's cran apple disgustingness, the flight attendant, maybe because they're moving so quickly, trying to get everybody their drinks before takeoff, they don't realize that they are 6 inches from murder. Like, this guy was so mad. The other guy, 10, 15 years ago, he was going to kill her.
Yeah.
And she was just like, hey, guy. Like, she never knew. But I was like, is this guy wrong? Because if you just want Bloody Mary mix, I think you should say that twice.
For sure.
Because they make 100,000 a year. And I'm not saying that when you make your order, you shouldn't expect it to be right. But when you have an order that is very specific, no alcohol, just say, no different if, like, your son couldn't have gluten. Like, no, you need to look at me. He cannot,
Yeah.
He should. Who was wrong? We know who's wrong in that situation, but who's wrong in that situation?
I agree that you need to underscore the point. Like, I'm very adamant that, like, no sauce can be on any of my things. Everything has to be on the side because I like to put the sauce on myself because I do not think you can judge how much salad dressing I want, or any sauce has to be on the side. And
by the way, I can see you having a waiter cornered, pointing your finger in his face, saying those words.
Well, so what I do is I say it ahead of the order. Like, I'm going to get such and such with the sauce on the side. And then I'll say, like, how I want the fish cooked or whatever it is. And then, like, again, the butter sauce on the side. Or I'll say, like, I just want it dry, whatever. And then I'll make eye contact with the other people at the table because I want everyone. That was annoying. Yeah, I had to do the thing that my parents do at every meal. But you all heard me, right? And then 90% of the time it comes out, I'm like, hey, man, there's sauce on this. And I'm not having it with the sauce. But I underscore it twice and I make sure other people at the table hear, especially if I'm on a date.
Right.
Like, if I ask for egg whites, that gets asked at the top and then at the bottom of everyone's order. Just a reminder, I just want egg whites because I'm going to return it if you bring it incorrectly. Now, mind you, that's something I can see. You can't see the alcohol in the drink, so that's much more problematic.
Right. Well, he must have tasted it immediately.
You could smell it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's
before
what
it gets to you.
The other guy that drank it 15 years ago, he got like a quarter of the way down. And the only reason I believe that he really, because he was such a gregarious guy, I have a picture. I took a picture of just being a jerk. This is back when I was first class on U.S. Airways, as I had so many miles. And he came up and he put these like white dad shoes, like he kicked them up like he owned the place. So I took a picture of those shoes, not knowing that I was going to see a man relapse 7 minutes after that picture was taken. So, okay. So we're back at the barbecue.
Yeah.
And you've had your Bloody Mary, your disgusting Bloody Mary.
Sure.
And now somebody's cracked the food, so you've had some food. When can you start drinking? And honestly, Corinne, you have to remember that you probably have some kind of physiological genetic advantage to drinking and most people don't. So you got to think about most people that are in their 30s during the day probably don't have a solid real meal in them yet. And because Saturday's running around errand stuff, you might have grabbed a bagel at 9. But you go to this barbecue, how do you make sure that you're not that person at the barbecue? Because somebody is always that person at the barbecue because it's so easy to get turned up.
It is.
It's so easy.
I don't know. If you're not, like, I process alcohol very quickly, so I know approximately how much I can drink on approximately regular basis that I'm just going to keep processing it and I'll still seem relatively sober.
Right.
However, most people aren't like that. And so I don't suggest, like, I was drinking straight mezcal. I would suggest, like, an amateur stick to beer, light beer, something that, like, you could, because what happens is you want something in your hand, you're talking, you're not paying attention, you're pretty much drinking the whole time. It's not like you're like, okay, like, I'm going to take an hour off. It's not a thing. If you're at the barbecue from 2 to 6, you got to drink in your hand from 2 to 6, pretty much.
Right.
Unless you have to, like, carry the plate or something.
That was, you just got me a little nostalgic for old school Al. He was so beautiful. I was a good time. And that's why I had to retire early because it was not going to end well. But like I would hit a cue at the same thing, 6 o'clock. My boy would have it. We would have it strategized where like we would have our own booze and we'd stash that somewhere in the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
And we'd be taking shots underneath the sink just because we'd be so ashamed of like we couldn't drink like this in front of your aunt, And it's like I'm not gonna have a bad time because you decided to show that you show your family you're up right now. Like no, we're gonna kick it in this place, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Are you allowed? Do you have to just then have kind of friends that are all in the same place in your life, or because I was in my mid-30s, still going hard like that. I don't know. Do you have to invite a wild card to your party to make sure that your barbecue is memorable?
I guess when I'm looking at the invitee list, I do look at like who spices things up and who's boring. My friend Garen and I have a friend that we're sort of like she's really smart, but we've determined she's sort of boring. And so we will only hang out with her together because one-on-one is just like a little too boring. So you got to balance. If I was having a party and I invited her, like I would definitely, I got to get some. I think you do invite the wild card. It depends. See, because I have some friends that are just disasters. I've got a friend that, well, you're never going to know who it is, so I don't think he listens to this. His name's Drew, but we call him Drupid. And he's just constantly like, we were at a 40th birthday and he crashed through a glass table. We were jumping on a trampoline. He split his head open. Like, he's a guy that like and he's really fun. He's the most fun person, but there's always something that happens. And so it's what liability you're willing to have. And then the other thing I would add is...
And we need to shout out Drupid.
Yeah,
because
Drupid is the best.
I've always said somebody has to liven this up. Mm-hmm. And everybody...
He's the guy.
Everybody's like, oh, look at that weird guy dancing. The first guy to dance always like, oh, look at this weird guy dancing. And then a couple gets up. Then some woman drags her husband. He's like, fine, I'll dance. And now people are dancing. Somebody has to do it.
You gotta bake the tip jar.
Yeah, there we go. You got to put that first $1 in.
That's right.
If you're ambitious, put that 10 in there. I see you working over there.
Yeah, and I think also a big difference between most barbecues I go to is, one, I appreciate the hell out of the fact that you didn't let people bring dogs. I'm going to a barbecue after this, ironically. I mean, this is a real barbecue. My Gaber has a grill, and he was like,
Did you just insinuate mine was not a real barbecue?
Well, he has an actual grill.
I know, but you didn't have to point in my face and be like, this is a real barbecue, by the way. That was so hurtful and funny.
So
and true.
He's having people over for the game, but he always lets everyone bring their dog, and his place is small like mine, and like now there's guaranteed to be multiple dogs there. He also has a rule that he will not make fish on the barbecue, which is like the only thing I like because I don't eat hamburgers. Anyways, you don't have dogs, but you have children at your barbecues.
Right.
Okay, so this is the idea of this game, and it is an offshoot of Bang or Buy, and we're gonna call it
Date or Hate?
Yes. So the idea is I'm going to share with Al some of the things I like least on dating apps when I see them. And I'm going to give him some examples, sometimes with photos. And I am going to explain whether I like them or not. And you tell me, you were a guy that was on dating apps. Like,
yes.
You might have fallen into some of these traps. I know that my particular profile for years was so it used to just say, life is short, you shouldn't be. And Franny was like, you are coming out the gates like an asshole. You're not giving the vibe you want to be giving. And I was like, no, the vibe is don't be short. And she's like, right. So that people, even tall people, don't like to read that. And so I think I've gotten better.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. But I stand by it.
Yeah, but you don't say it.
Yeah. Well,
you hint at it.
I said it for like a solid 2 years. That's all I said.
Oh, I believe you.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you some examples of people that are just doing things that I don't appreciate. But actually, before I get into that, I want to run something back. Last episode, I talked about how I don't think you should say any comments about your penis in the profile.
Okay.
And that seems like a fair take.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm running it back because I found a hot guy and he said something in his profile that I've decided is okay enough. I'm still going to meet him.
See, I don't have that bias, but okay. So let me hear it. Let me see. Okay. There's never what they teach you in multiple choice. It's never always or never. So I'll give it a chance.
Okay. I thought it was kind of crafty. I still hate it, to be clear. He's just exceedingly attractive. You can read it actually.
Okay. I'll read it.
I know how you love to read this.
Hung like Einstein, smart as a horse. Okay.
It's kind of a cheat code for being funny, but you don't think. I mean, who knows? Einstein could have been hung.
No,
he's just being funny, right?
I think that's his way of saying. That's a clever way of saying. I think he's packing, because you wouldn't, if you weren't packing, you wouldn't bring it up, unless you're not packing so little that you're like, we need to get this out of the way. It's like if you live with your parents, like you're like, before we go any further, like I live with my mom.
Yeah.
Okay. And they always go, but she pays me rent. Sure she does, dude. Shut up. But yeah, it's like there's certain
That's
things
why she has the master bedroom.
Exactly. Yeah. She's our back. She's like stay on the first floor. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So I think, and he's even presenting there. He's like opening his cape and he's dressed like Kermit.
Yeah. This is a stupid Mardi Gras. He won some Mardi Gras thing. Yeah, but anyways, I'm going to meet him, so maybe I'll have a follow-up on whether or not your theory is true.
Okay, and he had pictures after that? Good looking?
Yeah,
Let me
I thought
see
he
a
was
picture.
really cute.
I'm still getting to, sometimes I'll see Corinne's guys, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't always have, it's not clear-cut.
Yeah, but everybody's got a different kind of person. Oh, yeah, he's good looking.
Right?
Yeah.
He's so cute.
He looks like a guy that cleans up at weddings.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
You know, because he's got
definitely.
a clean-cut, harmless, but like kind of devilish look to his face. Like, oh, I'm a bored bridesmaid. I don't live in Santa Barbara.
Here's another.
Why not?
Oh my God, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I just noticed this. In this picture, that's a painting I have in my house.
Ooh.
That's weird, right? It's in my bathroom.
Maybe you guys are kindred spirits.
I think he's like 25 or something. No, 35. And he founded a law firm. What's up, Joseph? Let's do this.
That sounds like the ad for his law firm.
Yeah.
I fell and hit my back on the ground until I called, "What's up, Joseph?" My grandfather ran over my toe. What's up, Joseph? So stupid. All right, well, yo, he's got potential.
Okay, so
I like that he was clever about it. As long as you're clever, do your thing. But you got to make sure that you're clever. I think a lot of people think they're a lot more clever than they are. I'm not that clever. Like you got to have. Like,
I disagree. We're both very clever. Okay, now I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna try and do this in an orderly fashion. I have the notes on my phone. So I'm gonna give you a couple of things, and then I'm gonna give you some example pictures. First and foremost, any pictures with a celebrity. I trust me, I know more celebrities than you. I don't. That's just really tacky. So you met Jimmy Kimmel one time. Oh, you harassed somebody in the street and made them take a picture with you. Like, talk to me when you dated Major League Baseball players. You know, like talk to me when like this is embarrassing for you. I hate when someone has a celebrity in the picture.
Yeah, I called the infield for the Mets last summer. What's up? Like you gotta bring it.
I find that I just think it reeks of like insecurity. Like that's what you want to hang your hat on?
Okay, so no celebs of any kind we just said no, but we said we're never going to say never or always. Is there any exception?
Yes. This is the only exception.
Okay, I'm so curious. Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
Male or female?
The celebrity? Doesn't matter.
The president, whoever it may be.
Okay, that may be another exception. I was going to go with, this breaks another one of my rules, but if your kid is famous. If you birthed a famous kid, I'll give it to you.
All right. Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Earrings of any kind. Period. End of story. No earrings. Definitely no gauge earrings. Definitely no previous gauge earrings. No earrings. I got back on Facebook dating because I've decided I needed to
No, you did not.
Yeah. And it's going about as well as you think. I'm just getting hundreds of messages a day from Montana, from I don't know what. This app is so whack. I put the age range in. They're 22. Jobless, living 4 states away, and they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "What is this app?" So
I'm really worried for your security on Facebook dating.
You think?
It would be safer if you just carved your number into a bath stall wall.
Well, this is why. Okay, this brings me to a point that this varies a little from the game. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I recently discovered. Are we dating the same guy, Denver? Right, that's my main. Somebody uploaded in there a picture of a guy, and they were like, starting to date this guy. I just want to see if there's any tea. I also posted in the sister group, uncensored, are we dating the same guy? And I was like, what?
Oh.
What? There's an this isn't even censored. And so the other group, this one has, I don't remember now. Probably, I don't know. I'm going to guess here. I should just look it up. But the other one I know has 11,000 followers, which is smaller by comparison. Now, remember, this is just the Denver and Colorado Springs. That's it.
So you've been on the Hallmark Channel one.
I think so. Well, but what I keep seeing is there are people who want to put like good vibes on the page, which honestly, I'm not really here for that. But
so give me an example of good vibes
I'll tell you.
Page.
So people will post a picture and say, "Hey, I just want to give everyone hope. I met this guy on Facebook dating. Things are going really well. And we're moving in together. And I just want to let you know there are good guys out there." And almost all the time, It's a Facebook dating guy. It's never Bumble. It's never Hinge. It's never Tinder. And I thought to myself, perhaps that's what I'm doing wrong. Because it does seem the majority of the ones that actually have succeeded, or they post the guy. See, the problem is usually if you post the guy, it's either you haven't met him or he be in sketch. You know, you're not just randomly. So I freak out. I'm like, I've got to get in this group. And so I posted to my safe word is more to the patron page in Facebook. I posted there and I said, you guys are not going to believe this. There is an uncensored version. Now I had to answer a bunch of questions and wait to get in. So of course I phone up Lindsay Cohen and I was like, yo, is there a Seattle one? She's like, holy shit, there's a Seattle one. We both got in. It's kind of the same shit. I don't really know what's censored or uncensored about it. But here's an interesting fact. There is a patron of this podcast that is a moderator on one of these Are We Dating the Same Guy, not the uncensored, in a different city.
Oh, that's so
I know.
interesting.
I know. Okay, so
could we ask them questions anonymously?
I did, and she was like, I don't know anything about the uncensored group. I think she thinks it's more like basically they are way more like tyrannical about like what you can say and what is offensive and what, like, so pretty much if you like, let's say you put up a picture, somebody put up a picture of genuinely the ugliest person I've ever seen. And they were like, NET, and people were just like, who the hell else would fuck this guy? And you can't do that. So a bunch of girls got kicked out of the group.
For that?
Yeah, you can't do that. You got to be
that free speech?
Positive. I don't know. I mean, I screenshot it and sent it privately to Karen because that's what we do. We don't do it on the page. Have some decency. So the uncensored one, I think you can just do whatever you want, and like they just don't have enough moderators working it. Like it's not as well.
It's like Twitter
policed.
is now.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. I hate when you have, now I guess if it was a celebrity kid, that's the exception, but you shouldn't have pictures of your children on the dating app.
Never.
You shouldn't.
Never.
Right?
What?
Okay.
No.
Well, this brings me to my next point. I hate when someone is like, my kids are my everything. One would assume, unless you are a real piece of shit, I hope you're keeping them alive. I hope you care if they get fed. I hope, I could assume these things. Why would you feel the need to say that? I hate when they do that. And then to go one step further, I matched with this guy on Bumble that I thought, well, let's be honest, he's an orthopedic surgeon. So I was like, how you doing?
Right.
So I matched with him. I say, hi, Peter, what is it that you do within sports medicine? Because I'm not going to fall for their anesthesiology nurse. They're like, in the medical, okay. Are you a physician's assistant, sweetie? How many years of school do you have?
They make like $180.
They don't make what a fucking orthopedic surgeon makes, okay? And he says, I'm an ortho surgeon specializing in sports injuries, shoulder, hip, knee. I have 2 kids, though. Don't think we will work. Because, my profile says I don't want kids. And I'm like, well, then why'd you swipe? So I wrote, that's a great specialty. Because I'm like,
yeah, just pretend like I didn't hear the kids thing.
And so I said, I work in medical sales, and many years ago I used to sell to orthos. How old are your kids? I don't want any of my own, but I do date men who have kids.
I'm still here.
Now, do you remember what my profile says? It specifically says, I do not care for children, and in that, I do not like them, and I don't want to care for them. So it's not like I'm like, no kids, not really interested. Like, that's what I say in the profile. I don't have time. He's already read it. So he writes back 7 and 9. Your profile says you don't like them. I understand, but my life revolves around them. Again, you have to keep them alive. I mean, best case scenarios, you have nannies, but most likely I believe that your life should revolve. They're 7 and 9. They can't drive themselves.
Right.
Like you kind of have to do that. And he says, they're pretty much my impetus for everything I do in life outside a few things that don't need to be mentioned. Which I don't even know what that means.
What does that mean?
With a winky face.
Oh.
Ew.
Do you know what that is? Because he went from his kids to something sexual in one step. That's super that's really weird.
I agree.
That'd be like, Corinne, I want to date you, but I'm raising my kids and raising this D. That's insane what you just said. That's a little thing that seems little. That's a big deal. That's super weird. Mm-hmm. That's weird.
And I tend to think thou doth protest too much. Like, if you have to tell me how good of a dad you are, I'm probably not like that. Yeah. Probably not. Anyways, I wanted to be so mean writing back, but I did write back. I said, gotcha. Well, I wish you luck in finding someone who better exemplifies what you're looking for. I'm ambivalent about children, pretty adamant about finding someone who has the bandwidth for a relationship in addition to their role as a parent. Thanks for your honesty. Like, I hate people that like, my whole life revolves. Okay, well, I would hope you have a little spare time for other stuff. You loser.
Yeah, and your kids are 7 and 9, and trust me, if one of them is a girl, then that's like having a 9-year-old and a 4. Girls are like 5 years older than the same age. Like,
also, you don't have full custody unless their mother's dead, which I don't know, maybe she's dead.
Right, there you should write that. Look, if you're talking about I have a 1-year-old and a 3-month-old, get off the apps. You don't have time to breathe. You're literally not sleeping. But at 7 and 9, they're things like,
they can tie their shoes and
my
shit.
Science thing is next week. Can you get it together and get off the couch and go? Like, your kid will tell you that.
Slip?
Yeah, it's the fact that he's using his kids, that's super gross. It's like the little crutch. It's unnecessary, and you were giving him an in to talk, and he kept bringing it back to, well, this thing you hate. What do you think? You're going to show up in a suit of armor and start swinging at them? Like, it's fine, dude. Stop. Calm down with your melodramaticness.
Also, like 99% I'm sorry, that's not true. 100% of the relationships I've ever had didn't work. So how about we just don't worry about the kid thing until we have to worry about it? Like, why don't we just meet and see like if we vibe, and then you can tell me,
Yeah, most relationships don't work. So just go into it like, let's have fun today. And we'll see about tomorrow. But this whole like, we went to the same college and his dad also went to Yale. And next thing you know, the cops are on the lawn and, you're begging to get back into the house because you're naked and he kicked you out.
It really took a turn here.
The people that make that work are the people that probably don't always make sense on paper. And your situation was like, oh, I was going to move back to Europe, but then I got the job open and now I'm living in Chicago with you. You don't know. You don't know. Just go on a date.
If you are the height you said you are, we should just go on this date. Like, I really don't think there's that much other, like, we'll figure this out.
Yeah, I'm not done learning about your kids. Yeah, that's clearly all you can talk about. It's very weird because you gave him an opening and he blew it.
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
So that's on him. That's not on you.
All right, so I have a couple of other things.
That's a definite hate.
Okay, I hate, and I mentioned this last time, but I wanted to give you an example. I hate silly pictures, okay? I don't want it. It doesn't belong on a dating app. Just give me clear pictures where you look like a gentleman and you look like you do, like, what do you wear in real life? Because I hate a chain wallet. Like, how loose are your jeans? Like, I need to see that stuff. Please, with the Mardi Gras picture. Unfortunately, this guy has violated multiple policies here. Yes. And I'm still going to go out with him. He's very cute.
I'm glad you read that before we introduced our new segment that you've undercut at every turn. Yes. Here's what I don't like except for the last profile of it.
Okay, so this is an extreme example, but, like, you don't need to do this. This violates multiple things, including shirtless.
Okay. All right. Okay, my man, I'll call him Jay. It says slightly overweight, will cook you dinner. And
he's not slightly overweight.
He's not,
Spoiler.
He's not
he's
slightly
all the way overweight.
But you know what? He's doing that pose.
It's the art of seduction, George Costanza.
Yes. Oh, I didn't watch Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So yeah. So he's doing that a pose. And you know what? Here's what I'm going to disagree with you about on that pose. It ain't for everybody, dude.
It ain't for him.
It's like what do they call it? Like sea urchin when you go to get sushi?
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten sea urchin?
Yeah.
They tell you ahead of time, like, we will not take this back because it's got the consistency of like baby diarrhea, literally.
Yeah, I like it.
And yeah, it's a very
Chris, get up and come see this photo.
Yeah,
you need to see it.
I already know what it is.
Yes.
See, he's normal. He watched Seinfeld.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
But
That.
this man
but Chris, is that not a person that's like, this ain't for everybody, but some people would be like, that's hilarious. I relate to that pose. I'm swiping.
It's a very specific person who's going to respond to that.
Right. And now he doesn't have to do some weird pose where he's like using his arms to cover up his gut, or like in front of like a rock.
Because I had to be visually
some
assaulted.
A lot of women like that. A lot of women like kind of bare dudes.
Again, I have no problem with the bare dude. Like, I like.
He's a cub, though.
No. I don't want a silly picture. You're missing the point. It's the silliness of the Please, he's wearing underwear doing the art of seduction. You're not going to be that funny in a picture ever.
That's a good point. Whatever you're doing, even if it was funny in the time.
No. Chris says I wouldn't have dated him anyway. That's obviously true. But it's a stupid thing to do.
Okay, unless you're Jacob the lawyer.
Well, Joseph, he can do whatever he wants.
Joseph. What's up, Joseph?
Joseph, I can't hear you with your shirt on. Could you take your shirt off, please?
I had all these dating criteria, and I saw, what's up, Joseph?
Them out the window.
That's great.
I was involved in a hit and run, and I called, what's up, Joseph?
I'm obsessed with what's
definitely the name of this episode.
Absolutely. And, okay, so... But I think even though we are pointing out the things that are, maybe things to get around the hard rule, for most of us regular dudes, I think these are legitimate rules. Don't try and be silly.
No.
Don't have pictures of your kids. Don't go endlessly about your kids. And what was the other one?
I want to add no earrings. For sure,
and
no earrings. No chains. I want to add, this is the dichotomy to that is I don't want the same pose in every picture. So here's an example. This is also a terrible pose, but he's like a selfie with like making a bicep muscle.
No, he's making the tricep muscle.
Well, whatever. This is all he's got, every picture.
Yes. Okay, and I'll describe the look. Okay.
He looks 13. I don't know.
He really does.
This is Facebook dating's problem. These are the guys that are coming for me.
Okay, first of all, let me just get all into this picture, just so you guys can picture what you're looking at. Okay, there's obviously the selfie where you're taking a picture of yourself straight on. But then there's the selfie that people that have a slim torso and kind of cut up arms with the tricep where you can pretend like you're
can
not
push it
flexing
out.
your tricep muscle,
Yeah.
but that's the only reason that you would ever turn that weird way. And so he in the picture is kind of obscuring, maybe
can't see his face.
75% of his face. When you can see it, he looks young, and he also looks like he's in an abandoned house that he's currently stealing the copper wire out of the bottom of.
It's all bad.
Every picture, there's no art, bro, and it's just beige open wall outlets.
Yeah.
There's no picture. There's nothing. Even look up in the cabinets. Yeah. We will post this, and I will circle this. There should be a washer dryer here, boo.
Yeah.
That's a washer dryer setup.
Plug-in. Did he break into a model home to take these photos?
This is not his home, and we need to check on.
He commented so beautiful.
Yeah, and he just wrote back so beautiful, but.
Wrote back, I didn't write to him. This is the problem with Facebook dating. Anybody can reach out.
Yes, and just like even people that don't have any paint available to them to get their house. And does it say local homeowner? No, he's a young. I mean, now would you ever? Okay, here's the thing.
I don't care that he's young, but this is posing as
you're a sports fan. One of your best friends plays in the NBA, and you know that. There was a while back where you could draft guys right out of high school.
Yeah, I know.
And, they weren't expected unless you were a freak like Kobe or LeBron. You weren't expected to play right immediately.
I have an ex that was on the cover of what I was...
Sports Illustrated?
Yes.
Okay.
When he was 18.
I'm like, which other one was it?
I was thinking, I got it confused with the ESPY awards and like the ESPY issue, but that's not what... yeah.
Okay, but this is like, let's say a regular... Let's use my man here. He's 22. Do you, just like those teams used to do, they would be like, we're going to draft Chris, but Chris is he's not ready to play yet. So you stash him on the bench, you let him practice with the team.
Yeah.
Basically, he'll be ready in 3-4 years. That's what happened with Jermaine O'Neal. So would you take a little 22-year-old, stash him, coach him up a little bit? Because, I mean, he wasn't horrible. He just needs a washer dryer set up.
Okay, all right. I'm not with him. But you'd have to be a smoke show. Like, my ex, the 22-year-old, everyone knows as the Moodle. We named him that. Yeah, he was illiterate, and I didn't care. I mean, he had absolutely no future in reading anything.
Yeah,
but
read that six-pack.
It was
Braille,
ridiculously hot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a picture. He was an exceptionally attractive person.
Yes.
And when you're that good looking, the normal rules don't apply to you. I'm sorry. I don't have that privilege. I'm just saying that's kind of what I've seen with the world.
I took him to a party in Malibu that Chris Rock was at, and Chris Rock saw him, and he was like, damn! I knew I hit the big time.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to...
Everyone. He was such a head turner.
It's one of those things. Some people just hit the genetic lottery.
Mm-hmm. I'll just give you a few more, and then we'll take it on out of this. I don't understand how many men do this. They're mid-sneeze in the photo. This is not a unique situation. This is common.
Is this this is still Facebook dating?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, let me tell you why I asked that.
Such trash.
Because on the paid sites, there's at least you've invested something like I talked about earlier. So
Well, I don't pay for them.
So you at least take some time to come up with a clever thing that's going to stop people because everybody's swiping. You want to make them stop. This one just says looking to go on dates.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like how that's translated from another language with American woman. It's looking for a friendship, something casual, long-term relationship. Okay.
I'm looking for someone who doesn't have allergies, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very...
Literally, guys mid-sneeze.
Why would you choose
It's his
that
main picture, too.
I
don't know.
I don't...
Because they think it's, like, clever.
I don't think so.
I think that's what they think.
I think he just, like... Okay, for every person that's like, you and I take a selfie for this episode. We have Chris take 10. We're going to go through, you're like, I don't like my ear. I don't like my... Look, there's a weird shadow on me. But if there's somebody like you... That's one end of the spectrum, which isn't even that extreme. There has to be somebody that's like, whatever picture I just took, that's the picture.
Yeah.
I just think that's the picture he took. He did not retake it, and that's it. Because he's not trying to be funny. He's not laughing. He's not sneezing because the camera's straight. That's just the picture he took, and he did not retake it because he is a crazy person. Yes. And you and I will drive away from here today, and we'll be like, why didn't he just take another picture? Why didn't he just take a safety?
You didn't run out of film. It's not My Mother at the Neil Diamond concert. You got as many chances as you want.
And your mom was being accosted by security.
Yes.
And she still got off a couple snaps.
Blow-upable
He's
stuff.
in front of, and this will be posted on the Patreon, he is in front of a closed amusement park. It looks like, where is he? He looks like he's in front of a closed dog track.
I don't know.
Where is he? Corinne, find out where he is.
I mean, that would require. Oh, he's in front of Casa Bonita.
I've been to Casa. Wait, Casa Bonita, is that the Mexican food place?
He did write looking to go on dates with no grammatical, not even a period.
No, it's just like.
I'm sorry, did you think other people were looking for dog walkers? Or like, what did you think this site was? It's called Facebook dating.
What did he think you were going to write back? Like an attractive, famous woman that you are. You were going to write back, oh my God, I'm looking to go on dates too.
This is wild.
Is that the idea? Get out of my head.
Yeah. This was meant to be.
We need to hook up him, and I want to see the airport through your eyes.
Oh, God.
Because I think they might, look, he's not for you. He'll never be for you, anybody in this room. Probably anybody listening to this podcast, let's be honest. We're snarky jerks, and we love each other. But that guy will never listen to this podcast, and I missed my flight, even though I've been in the airport for 5 hours. Oh. She's never going to listen to this podcast. No. But if we can somehow, are you telling me that there's no way that guy, she wouldn't think he's hilarious?
She would.
I think
definitely.
They could just go to the airport, 5 p.m. flight, get there 11.
Yeah.
And just like.
Miss that shit.
Yeah. And just after they knew there were jokes, they would make it, but it'd still be like a run. I still picture her.
Yeah, eating the pizza, going like, I have 10 minutes. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's the best. I know. I'll have to pilfer some more content from her because it's all pretty much that good.
I don't know why. I just think she had to have been sitting. They called her name, and you can see people. It's
I know.
And I know they're like, it looks like her name is Karen McPherson or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, yo, and she's like, it says 450 dipshit.
Yeah. Then she goes, she did the Del Kaplan and she found a manager to complain to. And then the other people on Facebook that were like, I hope you spoke to someone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, I have one last thing to round this out. So
I don't know why I love her so much.
This is from a patron. And Josh wrote in, I just loved this. He said, this guy matched with me on Tinder. Matching with Tinder requires actively saying you're interested, right? Much like this guy that's on Facebook dating. I want to go on dates. Turns out after wasting time carrying on D-level conversation, motherfucker is using it as a business account to promote his real estate business and nothing else. Thoughts, actions, warfare. And one of our other patrons wrote in, have him pull a bunch of listings way outside of your budget and then tell him they're all terrible choices and they're tacky and cheap, waste his time because he wasted yours.
Oh, that's smart. But that's why I love our swimmers. I love it.
But like, in what world would you ever be kind to the person that strung you along and then is like, so LOL, I'm actually just here to sell real estate.
And
it's wild. It made me so mad.
And if you are... Okay, so, real estate guys, men and women, they're all like, hey, my time is money. This cocaine won't pay for itself. And so why would you go into a pond of people that probably aren't looking for real estate? There have to be other places where probably people with money that also want real estate are, but it's such a random...
Another patron wrote in stating the obvious. Oh, yeah, so I'm going to choose the guy that lied on a Tinder dating app to represent my interests in a commercial or like in a home buying purchase. Like, what?
It's very strange. Like, yeah, I want to give you 10% commission, whatever it is, on this because you really duped me. I really thought you were great and we could build a life together, but instead you just wanted my money and I wanted to reward you for that. That's insane.
Yes.
I don't know if that's not more insane than missing your flight at the pizza place.
No, there's nothing
because the pizza place, you could just say, hey, I didn't know. I don't fly a lot. I'm sorry. That's okay. First of all, I still love that woman because the joy, the feeling that she gave me, that picture of her just sitting on her. I want to go back down that road.
Thing.
So yes, that was now, very. That's a weird flex there, bro. And then if that's what you are doing, keep it on the low. You don't want to, hey, I'm scamming you, Corinne. What I'm doing is I'm like, if you're doing that, it's shitty. All right. It's legal, I guess, but don't tell the person. Maybe if it leaks and it gets to them, cool, but don't tell them.
I mean, there's a lot of casting processes that use dating apps. Like, so Survivor does it, Amazing Race does it. Well, I don't know if Amazing Race does, but Survivor does it. All the Bachelor and Bachelorette franchise stuff does it, where the casting producers get on there, they swipe, and they're like, listen, I'm actually not in the dating pool. I am a casting director for blah, blah, blah. I think you seem interesting. And, like, I think that's maybe something you could do that would be, like, better received, then I'm going to sell you. I don't know that you're in the market for a home. I don't understand
Right.
what this is.
And the dating pool is like, oh, I don't want to date you, but I might want to put you on TV. Okay, that's a good 1B. So at least you're
Right.
It's not like I don't want to date you, but I do want your money.
Yeah.
You're like, cool.
Yeah.
That's never gonna. I don't understand.
It's never.
When that's ever works.
I don't know.
But do you know what always works?
What?
Us. And that's why we're gonna have to bring this to a close. Why do I always have to be the person
bearer of bad news?
that tells the sub that we're supposed to have homework and not watch a movie? But I will take that job because I care about stewarding this ship so much. So I just want to tell everybody I love you guys. You can find me on Instagram at IG, on TikTok at AlJackson247. Why not promote that random site?
And you've never uploaded anything.
I think I might. I'm gonna start. I don't know.
No, you're not.
I need
You're
our
not.
swimmers
You guys
to. I need some help. I'm slowly getting. I tweeted twice. Just me and
I banned Twitter when they took away the blue check. I'm not.
I don't have a blue check, but I'm starting to get back into social media. And honestly, swimmers, if we want to be real, I need some encouragement. I've been off for 3 years, and I've loved it, and so I need to get back into it because I'm starting to think about it again, like an old ex.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in the next.
Oh my God.
No, I know.
You don't want to tease it?
No. Oh yeah. Well. Okay. I'll tease it. The worst person in the world did something.
Fuckface.
Did something
My
worse.
favorite nickname you give her.
Equally worse than
Yeah.
the crib incident in which my crib was gutted.
I would say it's equal.
It's equal.
It's
Yes.
diabolical.
How's that 4 T's?
Yeah.
How's that 4 T's? The worst
There you
person in
go.
the
Chris
world
is excited.
is going back for her title.
Yes. It's just an incredible turn of events. Yeah.
We just broke up, Corinne.
Right.
Do we need to do all this?
We
just broke up. Good Lord in heaven. Okay. Corinne,
I'm not sure there's an end in sight because after she did, we'll tell you guys what she did on the next episode, but I'm just concerned that this is going to be your lot in life. She's just going to keep figuring things out.
I know. And the longer this goes on, I know people are going to be like, well, he must have done something. And first of all, there's nothing that I could have done. No. But what if it's just you had this crazy idea that we have grown apart. I don't see this coming back together. I would like to give you your freedom. I would like to have my freedom. No one's cheating. No one's beaten anybody. No one's stolen any money yet. And you try and pay for their move. You try and let them stay comfortably while they move out of the place you're paying for. And it's been rewarded with just...
Well, she's an insane person. She's completely clinically insane. This is wild. Anyways, I don't want to oversell it until we've actually talked about it.
Yes,
so
okay.
We're going to take it home.
We might have to get together soon and just get this out.
I know. Well,
yes.
I mean, we need to do a Buzz Corinne entered the chat. And if we don't have time today, I'll come back and
okay.
we can
okay.
Well, we should... So we have a Patreon. This is a good time to mention that. It's called Buzz Corinne Enters the Chat. It's when I have a drink after this. And we talk about, right. We talk about lots of things that we wouldn't otherwise say publicly on the main platform.
Yes.
And we put content up every other episode. And we hope you'll find us on Instagram at MySafeWordIsMore. And that'll be it for us.
There we go.
Sir, it's not a podcast about life. It's a podcast about
perspective, baby.
Chris is dying for us to come up with a better line.
All right.